What's up, everybody? Randy here, Nerds Templar, chilling in yet another of our live viewings of Beyond Lumina. Episode 5, pretty obvious there, where we are. We are going to be, after this, halfway through the currently posted stuff, 10 episodes. They've been on the channel for about a year, I believe. That was the background music, if you will, for episode 4 that you were just listening to there. Um, yeah, yeah. I will have to get up at one point and go grab my coffee that I just started. So yeah, most people don't say that they just woke up from a short nap whenever it's 9 in the morning, but that's what happened. But hey, we're here, perfect timing, and yeah. So I will give just a quick before we get into this a couple spoilers. We'll catch up. I'll do on my own. What do you say? Previously on Beyond Lumina. But yeah, it'd be interesting if I maybe made something to actually read from for this, so I didn't have to just ad lib. But I'll do that right now actually. So like, subscribe, all that stuff. But if you haven't listened to the other 4 episodes, you should probably do that. I'm gonna hit the spoilers thing now, so anyone popping in or whatever knows that they're about to be spoiled on what's happening. So yeah, here we are, episode 5, Bright City. And what's happened so far? Aezic, our main character. Here we got some pictures too, actually. So again, spoilers. These aren't very much spoilers, though. Here's Aezic Zin, a man of Ravina. So he is Lieutenant Aezic Zin of the world of Ravina, where whence he comes, and uh, he's also a lieutenant of the Free World Alliance, which is the blue he is clad in. Comes from is would be them. Again, these are AI generated pictures. Just keep that in mind. So they're actually quite good. They look a lot. I did a bunch of them and I picked out the one that I thought was best. But the AI was doing a pretty decent job of recreating it, mostly what the characters look like and slightly like what they would be wearing. And all the backgrounds are just like blurry space backgrounds. His is specifically like doing something about he's on the Vector VX 5 or 6 or whatever the first one was that he was riding on Ravina. But so he comes back home to Ravina. He's going on leave. He's got some headaches. Um, he goes back. He finds out when he gets there that his world of Ravina has been ravaged by the one of the other three major powers of the system of Lumina. System of Lumina being the star system there, Lumina the sun. That's what you see there. And oh yeah, I also have another thing we'll see at the end. I made a very crude drawing of the beginnings of what the Lumina star system, like a map of it, basically. I got a star map. So I'll show that for any of you nerds out there who would appreciate something like that. But it's only in its infant stages, and it's also very uh, crude, very crude. So anyway, so Aezic, yes, gets back there. He then realizes, tuning into a local broadcast, that it's been attacked by one of the other three major powers, not the Free World Alliance, where he's from, but the Royal Ascendancy. Uh, and he also learns of an attack on one of the Free World Alliance's warships that kind of seemed to coincide with this, but in a separate part of the system. But this was by the other of the three powers known as the Tensorian Federation, who attacked a renowned warship known as the Scion of the Free World Alliance in Tensorian Federation space, and basically throwing, raising warnings and causing the Free World Alliance worlds to wonder if the peace that they would have had, that they had with the regular peace that they had with the Tansorian Federation, was perhaps over, and perhaps they had aligned with the Royal Ascendancy. So he goes there. He wants to find his family on his home world. He has no luck. He runs into another sergeant of the, well, a sergeant. He's a lieutenant. He runs into a sergeant of the Free World Alliance, Valerize, who seeing that he is sick or something, and also alone, on a war-torn planet, asks her superior what to do. He says, "Hey, go make sure he's okay." So she does. They both are then headed back to Cronus Prime, the capital of Ravina, where Aezic first touched down. Then he made his way to his home place on the planet of Ravina named Panya. No luck. Then returned to Cronus Prime with Vala. No luck when they got to the station, I suppose. You know, the main part of the capital where all the doings are done. He tries to get some help there. No luck. And then he runs into a group of Ravina soldiers who then take him to the north in episode 2, a place called Animov, where there's a giant bunker of other Ravina citizens. He's actually told by them not to trust any of the citizens that are left out, sort of, you know, still up and about, because there's been so many that have been gathered together there at this northern outpost, this massive northern outpost. There's also most of the Ravinian military there, and then the rest is scattered across the system, is what he's told by these other soldiers, who then go with him. They're sent then on a mission by the captain that's stationed there, Captain Alderon. Here's the leader of the Ravinians that he meets there, Zario Launer, and then they go to this supposedly secret. It was supposed to be a secret bunker of unknown origin, and see what's up with it. There's a signal being beamed out from the planet from there, so they go to the other side of Animov, around the planet, to the other side of that northern continent, find it, infiltrate it, gather what information they need, go to a different outpost in episode 3 where they were the information was being beamed to, which was in an asteroid outside of the just outside of pretty much the end of the what's called local space of Ravina. So they go there. They infiltrate that outpost, but while doing so, it turns out that it was actually like half a trap for Aezic. He's left there. Well, he was going to be left there to just be taken by the Ascendancy, but he fights his way through, and then so he is kind of then reveals the plan, because two of the what is it, 7 of the members of Zario's team, Mecha and Argyle. I do have more pictures here. I just don't have them on here. Hold on one second. So we're still in spoiler mode, so be aware. So we got Aezic, we got Vala, and we got Zario. And we already showed this at the end of the last one, but we have these characters now definitely several times. So then we got Valanth, one of the like underlings but leaders under Zario, and the other one Bohawk. Bohawk's 2 subordinates, Quaz, Philony, and Usion, and then Valanth's 2 subordinates, Mecha and Argyle, who are with Aezic. Valanth was also with them, but then they hear some fighting going on, it seems, on the other side of the corridor after they split up. Bohawk is back on the ship watching that, and then Valanth goes back to see what all of the commotion is, because they were still checking rooms on the other side of the outpost. And so then at the end, whenever Mecha and Argyle don't help Aezic fight the Ascendancy, they find, and he has to barely scrape away from the fight alive, and then realizes that he was betrayed, especially when he then tries to leave the room and is attacked by them. Turns it around, locks him away, and then has to go safely try to find his way. And this is then episode 4, where he's then trying to find his way out. And then they're also betrayed on the other side, which is Zario. This is what the commotion was that Valanth went to find. Zario, Philony, and Usion betrayed on the other side by the Ascendancy themselves. It turns out that they're just a bunch of mercenaries working for the Ascendancy, working for Usion, who's not who he seems to be. I'm sorry, not Usion, but Captain Otteron back on Ravina, the guy who said he was the captain of the Ravinian military. So they're turned on as well. Zario realizes probably best, well, they're going to try to get out of there. So they try to get out. Then there's an explosion. The ship is gone. Bohawk is gone. And they then retreat back into the outpost because another ship is coming to basically clean up another Ascendancy ship. And so they come, they meet up again with Aezic. Basically, Zario apologizes. Aezic takes it as much as he needs to, the apology, because they're all about to be attacked, and he realizes, Aezic that is, realizes he probably, if they're telling the truth, which it very much seems they are, even if he doesn't trust them any further than that, his only chance to get out alive is to probably do so with them. And so they do, in a sneaky tactical mission, they are able to make it away from the whatever the entire force of the unit of Ascendancy soldiers who were there to make sure the job got done. It got away on the ship that they came on, and then of course, not sure about what happened to Hawk. Aezic wants to return to Ravina, and that cannot happen, Zario says, because they are going to be hunting him. They are actively hunting Aezic for some reason. And I think that takes us to where we are, right? Ooh, I should have kept that up. All right, let's, ooh, cool, huh? All right, here we go. I think we are where we need to be. All right, you couldn't hear all that stuff I was saying. I was basically telling, I guess, I'm not sure what I missed, everything that happened in episode 4 when they went to Op. I'm sorry that this is taking so long. And then you're just going to have to watch episode 4 because I didn't realize my thing was off. But yeah. So Vala was sent on the trail of Aezic and the rest by her superior. We just learned at the very end. The head of the Council of Tan and the Prime has been assassinated. The Prime Minister of Sor is missing, and that is Tan and Sor, the two biggest nations of the Tansorian Federation. And then also, yeah, Aezic and the rest, they were on Ob. They got a ship there. They destroyed the Ascendancy ship they were on, which was able, there were some Ascendancy still there. They were able to get out and escape pods, which were then picked up by Captain Ravim and Maloon, the one that's alongside of Vala and as the two subordinates of Ravim, Maloon and her, and then Ravim, their commander, then taking him and taking Maloon and the rest, as Vala is then on her own tracking Aezic, sent by Ravim to do so. And they are now on an Obian ship, and they actually just picked up an interesting signal that Aezic knows to be a Ravinian signal that the Ascendancy had on their ship. Okay, now we're ready. Beyond Lumina, Episode 5, Bright City. Sergeant Major Ravim, after giving Vala Rees her new coordinates to the independent planet of Ob, updated her on what they knew. Sergeant, you're once again looking for Lieutenant Aezic Zin. We had reports that he had left Ravina with an Alliance cruiser that was thought to be missing. We found that cruiser destroyed in an asteroid field near Ravina, where there was also some sort of outpost. I felt you would have the best chance of convincing him you are innocent if you are caught keeping tabs on him. But that is what we need you to do. Follow him and this crew of his and see what they are up to. Vala didn't know what to make of the situation. I guess I'm really no good at judging someone's character, she thought. Aezic seemed to her like a loyal soldier, and probably even a loyal friend too, much like Ravim, her commander. But it was clear now that Aezic was mixed up in something. How bad and how he was involved, she thought, remained to be seen. But why would he have a stolen Alliance cruiser, she asked herself, and how did he get away from the asteroid if it was destroyed? She was going to have to come up with some cover story in case he noticed her. Luckily, he doesn't know much about me, she thought, other than what he might get from a bioscan. She wasn't really well versed in the espionage business, but she understood why she was chosen to carry out the mission, and she would do her best to do so. The trip to Ob wasn't a very long one, and she assumed she would be able to refuel there, but she wasn't always sure when it came to independent worlds. She had been to many places, some independent worlds, but never to Ob. Entering the atmosphere, she sped across the lush landscape until finally spotting what looked to be a spaceport at a prominent city. She had not received any word from the ground whether she could land, but she didn't think she would be disturbing anything at a place with such little space traffic. Vala landed her fighter and got out, stretching after the long flight. She let Ravim know that she made it and asked him to keep her updated with any new information as she looked for Aezic. As she made her way inside the spaceport, she was met by an engineer coming out. "Can we help you, officer?" the man asked her. The Alliance officer's navy blue paracloak was notorious throughout the developed system. "Yes," Vala started. "Could I get some fuel for my fighter, please?" "We usually don't support military vessels," the man said, wiping his hands with a rag, "especially with the current heated situation." He looked at the fighter, then back at Vala. "I guess we can help you out, though. Just a little fuel for one fighter, right?" "That's right," Vala replied. "Thank you for your help." "Not a problem," the man answered. Just don't go telling anyone what we did now. Cautious punch, Paula thought. She repositioned her fighter nearer the spaceport, and the engineer filled it up with fuel. So you must not get many ships from the major powers here, then? Paula asked the engineer, trying to glean some information from him. Very rarely, the man said. I think it's pretty well known we don't care to get involved in your politics here, but we still get the rare visitor like you. I see, she replied. Am I the first you've seen in a while? Yeah, he started. Probably the first in at least a quarter cycle. Sounds like Aezic didn't land here then, she thought. While she was waiting, Bala received another transmission from Sergeant Major Ravina. Bala, come in, he began as usual. Yes, Commander, she replied. It looks like Aezic and his crew have gone to Sotama, Ravina said. Head there as soon as you can, and I will try to update you on where to start once you arrive on planet. Yes, sir. I will be departing Ob shortly then, Bala answered. And once the engineer had finished refueling her fighter, she took off once more and set a heading for Sotama. It was near enough to Ob right now, so she would be there soon, and wouldn't have to stop again for fuel. After they had destroyed the Ascendancy battleship in deep space, the Obian ship bearing Aezic and the mercenaries finally entered the atmosphere of Sotama. Welcome to Bright City, Zario announced. He had taken up the helm since they had lost Hawk back at the asteroid outpost. Bright City was the capital of Sotama. It was a city thus named because, no matter the time of the rotation, whether Lumina was shining on it or not, one could not tell the difference. The city was so bright and so active all the time that every moment was like the middle of the day, or perhaps more fittingly for this world of luxury, the prime time of the evening. They received more than a few puzzled looks as they docked the ship from the independent world. Just as the independent worlds weren't accustomed to seeing many ships from the major powers, perhaps even more so the citizens of the major powers weren't accustomed to seeing ships from independent worlds. And this ship was nothing to look at to such a degree that it became something to look at in a place like Sotama. So much for not being noticed here, Zario said as they unboarded. Now that we are here, Aezic started, I don't see a reason for us to stick together. I'm going to the Alliance headquarters. I doubt that's where you want to be. Like I said, feel free to take the ship and get out of here. The Ascendancy is probably more concerned with me than they are with you anyway, so it would be better for you to get as far from me as possible. I suppose you're right, Zario said, but Aezic was already leaving. Aezic went to the grav bike rental shop and once more found himself a Vector. This time it was a VX-7, which was only 2 models from the newest VX-9. He, however, preferred it over the VX-8, so it was second best in his opinion. He quickly made his way to the Alliance headquarters of Sotama in Bright City, where he would be safe from the Ascendancy and would hopefully be able to get some answers. As he entered the military wing, he was greeted with a salute by a low-ranking officer who was at a reception desk. Greetings, Lieutenant, she said. How can I be of service? Hello, Sergeant, Aezic replied. I need to get in touch with whoever is the commanding officer here. I have a lot of urgent information to relay to High Command. Of course, the sergeant nodded. That would be Colonel Inferi, but I don't think he will be back here for a little while. He had to go to one of the nearby cities, Trida, and see to one of our operations there. If you don't need him in person, you can just contact him. I'm sure he will get back to you quickly. Thanks for your help, Aezic said. I think I will wait for him to return. When did you say he would be back? Check in near the end of the rotation, and I'm sure he will be here by then. Thanks again, Aezic replied, and left the barracks. The question now, he said to himself as he walked to the grav bike, is whether to stick around here until the colonel returns, or find somewhere less conspicuous to wait. The warning Zario gave him about Ascendancy spies was continually echoing in his mind. He decided to go to a different city. There were plenty to get lost in, and wait until the end of the rotation. It would still be a while. Before he did, he sped back past the docking bay where they had landed the Obian ship to see whether the mercenaries had left yet or not. The ship was still there. I really don't care what that military grunt said, Mecca declared. We should be on our way back to look for Hawk right now. The crew of mercenaries sat together at a space inn, half-heartedly sipping on some drinks. Although I think it could be dangerous, Villainy added. I agree with Mecca. He wouldn't have hesitated to fly this rickety ship into enemy fire to save us if he had to. What do you guys think we can possibly do for him at this point? Zario said, annoyed, mostly because he also agreed but knew it was useless. By now, the Ascendancy or the Alliance, or both, have combed that entire area. And if Hawk was alive, he isn't there anymore. If he is alive, Zario said again, we won't know where to find him. Ravina is a good place to start, Lucian replied. Would you all please listen? Zario almost started to shout. We can't go back to Ravina. We will be arrested on sight by whoever finds us first. Then we have no chance at all of helping Hawk. They all sat in silence for a while. Well, what are we doing here then? Mecca started again. I don't know, Zario answered, pondering. Waiting, I guess. This clearly didn't satisfy Mecca, who got up and walked out of the space inn. Argyle followed her. Zario sighed. It's not smart to split up right now. Go keep tabs on them, Valen. Got it, Valen said, and went after his subordinates. Why are we staying here? Villainy asked, if you're so worried about the Ascendancy. Don't you get it? Zario answered. We're staying here because I'm worried about the Ascendancy. While Sotama was basically one large city, what they called cities were really different regions, which were similar to the old national regions, now mainly just used to section the planet off to make it more manageable to govern. Aezic made his way to the city of Kaufen, about a quarter of the way around the planet to the northwest of Bright City. He had been to Sotama before, so he kind of knew his way around. He knew that Kaufen would be another large city, by Sotama standards, that he could get lost in until he could meet with Colonel Inferi. It was common to see a lot of Alliance military in a place like Sotama, which was one of the most prominent worlds in the Alliance. His lieutenant stripes made him a little more noticeable, but still he wasn't too concerned. He found a space inn that seemed like it had a pretty good crowd, then slipped into one of the booths in a corner, where he could see anyone approaching. Settling in with a drink, a nearby entertainment console caught his attention, which was on a system news channel, covering all the biggest stories around Lumina. And without any ransom message or demand, the Federation is at a loss as to what has happened to the Prime Minister of Sor, and what his captors want. So long has passed since he was taken that many speculate whether he is alive, especially after the assassination of the head of the Council of Tan. Aezic was shocked. The Prime Minister of Sor and the head of the Council of Tan were the two most prominent leaders of the Tansorian Federation. This is crazy, Aezic thought. I wonder if it happened before or after the Scion was destroyed. Maybe that's why the Federation attacked them. But there's no way the Alliance would do anything like this. The Federation was our ally, after all. So many questions were unanswered in Aezic's mind. He felt that he was in the middle of something way beyond his own scope of understanding. Now that he had a moment to relax again, he tried to contact his captain once more. Having still not heard back from him or anyone, all he could do was leave another message for him. This was becoming one of Aezic's biggest concerns, and something he was going to ask the Colonel about. At this point, he had been on leave for over an entire universal rotation, which was more than 2 Ravinian rotations, and he hadn't gotten a reply from anyone in that time. He was beginning to lose track of all the things that were going wrong. The attack on Ravina and the missing citizens and soldiers, the attack on the Scion by the Federation, the silence from his platoon, Ascendancy spies' attempts to capture or kill him, and his fuzzy memory and nagging headache. Now he learned that the leaders of the Tansorian Federation were being targeted. How much of it is related, Aezic wondered. He spent a while at the Space Inn until it was getting rather late. then made his way back to Bright City to speak with Colonel Inferi. Though he couldn't tell, the sky above the capital city was dark when he arrived a short time later. The same soldier was at the reception desk when he arrived back at the military wing. "Welcome back, Lieutenant," she said to Aezic. "The Colonel is in now, and I let him know that you stopped by. He's expecting you." "Thank you, Sergeant," Aezic replied and proceeded into the Colonel's office. Colonel Inferi looked up from his desk as Aezic entered. "Ah, Lieutenant Zin, I presume. Good to meet you. Sergeant Estella told me you needed to speak with me about something rather important. What can I help you with?" "Colonel," Aezic saluted his superior. "It's good to finally talk to another officer again. I feel like I've been out of contact for ages. I am from Ravina, and I went back home on leave recently. I arrived to see what the Ascendancy had just done there, and that many of the citizens had been taken hostage or fled soon after the attack. I've been searching for any information I can about what happened or where the Ravinians may have been taken. While searching, I came across a group of mercenaries working for Ascendancy soldiers who were posing as Alliance military. You need to get word to Ravina Command about a large facility they have in Animov. They have a lot of citizens there, maybe as a shield, so they need to be careful. The strangest thing, though," Aezic continued, "is that I have not been able to get in contact with my captain or any of my crew since I went on leave." The Colonel sat there, trying to digest all the information. Aezic filled him in on some more of the details, leaving out his memory loss and headaches, however, and told the Colonel that everything had been as it usually was before his squad all went on leave. Inferi finally said, "It sounds like you've been through quite a lot, Lieutenant Zin, and I will help you in any way I can. It is very strange that you haven't heard back from Captain Hadrid in all this time. I can look into these things for you, see what I can find. And I can run a search to see if your subordinate has come back here on his leave. Perhaps you can get together with him if he is." He called for Sergeant Essela at the reception desk, who promptly entered the office. "Sergeant, please show the lieutenant a place where he can stay during his time here." He addressed Aezic again. "Come back next rotation, say sometime mid-rotation, and I will hopefully have something for you." "I appreciate the help," Aezic replied, "and I won't take up any more of your time. I will see you next rotation." Sergeant Essela escorted Aezic to a nearby room, one of the many unused officers' quarters in the military wing. Aezic laid down on the bed and was immediately aware of how exhausted he was after everything. He was also glad, though, to finally have some real help. Not that he didn't appreciate what Sergeant Major Ravim and Sergeant Rees had done for him. They just seemed to know very little, especially for people stationed on Ravina. They did want to help, though, he thought. Perhaps I was a little harsh at the time. Soon he was able to doze off and had one of the more restful sleeps he had since his leave began, though it was still not very peaceful. "Man, things are getting crazy out there," a young soldier said to himself, who was standing on guard duty atop a large tower, one of many used for planetary defense from the ground. "No more alliance with the Alliance. They're just flying off the handle. I wouldn't doubt if they're the ones behind the assassinations and kidnappings." He shuffled nervously at his station. "I'm not cut out for all this drama. We weren't supposed to be in any wars in my lifetime. That stuff is for uncivilized savages. At least I'm posted here at home. I just hope the war doesn't find its way here. But surely the Federation wouldn't let that happen. Although, Private," a voice came from somewhere nearby, "stop talking to yourself and turn your transmitter off before you make an even bigger disgrace of the Saurian military." "Oh, yes, sir," the soldier stammered. "Sorry, sir." He turned off the transmitter and sighed in embarrassment. "I guess everyone already knew I was a coward anyway," he thought, ashamedly. "But I just don't want anyone to destroy my home." The following rotation came too quickly for Aezic's body, which was still worn out from all the activity of the past couple rotations. He nevertheless rose rather early and went back out into the city. He really didn't know what to do with himself for the time until he would meet again with Colonel Inferi. He decided to take a ride on his rented Vector VX-7 and went past the docking bay that he arrived in once more. The Albion ship was still docked there. Those fools, Aezic thought.
If they were really concerned about the ascendancy in the Alliance, which they should be, they would have left here immediately. What could they possibly be doing? He rode on further to another city once more, in order to try and keep any potential ascendancy spies searching. Without anything else to do, Aezic decided to go to a space inn once again, thinking he may perhaps even gain more information or bits of news. It worked last time, he thought, although maybe I just need to listen to the news more often. Entering the space inn, he once more found a corner booth and ordered a drink. Zario and the others were now on his mind again, after seeing the ship still docked at Bright City. Are they watching me again? Did they just go right back to their last job? He started to feel like he was being watched, feeling that he had no rational evidence for. Aezic was a very skilled strategist and tactician. Spying on him was not an easy feat. He was always aware of his surroundings, and if there were someone watching him right now, they would have to be a phantom. But his reasoning didn't help him feel any more at ease. Aezic decided to turn on his own entertainment console and flip through some news stations, but none seemed to be saying anything new, though most were talking about one or more of the recent events. Then he hit one that caught his attention. Ascendancy battleship destroyed in deep space near the independent planet. Reports are that communication has subsequently been lost between the Alliance and Ob, as experts speculate an attack is underway. What have we done? Aezic thought. We doomed them. I should have known that the Ascendancy wouldn't care if they were involved or not. Just another chance to force someone under their rule. He couldn't believe how foolish he had been. Now a whole planet gets to pay the price because of me. I need to figure out what is going on quickly so I can put an end to it. He was getting anxious and couldn't wait any longer to go see the colonel, and so left the space inn and headed back to the Alliance headquarters in Bright City. Still, the Obian ship was docked in the bay. Aezic arrived at the headquarters and proceeded to the military wing, where he was surprised to see a familiar face leaving. Sergeant Rees, he said to Vala as they approached one another. What a coincidence running into you here. What are you doing? Reassigned from Ravina so soon? Vala looked to be even more surprised than he was. Lieutenant, she saluted. Wow, this certainly is a surprise. Yes, not long after we parted ways, I received a transmission that a family member wasn't doing well, and I left for Sotama immediately afterward. I will be on leave for a few cycles. What brings you way out here? Have you found out something about your family? Well, I certainly hope everything is okay with your family, Aezic started. And no, unfortunately, I haven't found anything yet, but I'm hoping that will change soon. I'm going to meet with the commander here right now. You mean Colonel Inferi? Vala asked. Yes, Aezic replied. Why do you ask? Well, I just came from there, Vala said, and he's not there. The sergeant at the desk said that he has been gone all rotation and wasn't sure when he would be back. Great, another roadblock, Aezic thought. I just can't find any information about anything. Why is it so difficult? Well, thanks for the heads up, he said to Vala. I guess I will just have to wait until later then. So what now? Vala asked. If you aren't doing anything now, perhaps we can get something to eat? I guess I'm free now, Aezic answered. Somewhere else, though. He still didn't feel comfortable in Bright City where he could possibly be connected to the Obian ship that the mercenaries still hadn't taken from the docking bay. They would just take the thing out of here, it would help a lot. Aezic and Vala began the short trip on their grav bikes to another city, where they found a space inn that Aezic thought was suitable, and they entered. When they did, there was a strange pall in the air. He quickly found out why. On every entertainment console, he saw the unmistakable image of a high-priority bounty alert, and it was for him.
And that is that. Episode 5 in the books. Yeah, that's my background now. A big old color wheel, just to help myself and perhaps future streams by talking when I'm talking about different colors of things, mostly colors of things being changed. Like if we ever discuss, which we will, many more times in the future. Changes in color, and one of the reasons that one thing I thought about is Vala's picture here is pretty much like there's not much I would change about it other than obviously like some kind of more uniform for the Free World Alliance. Once that's taken care of, these goggles are supposed to be maybe a little more like Aezic's, a little more like just straight across though, and also probably like a black and a dark blue or something. But then like her hair could maybe be a tad more on the. It's probably about this is what I was thinking. It's probably like more like a lighter Parmesan cheese color, Parmesan. Uh, I think it could almost be like somewhere even between here, maybe between all these guys here, or somewhere about here. I'm sorry, here. But that's what I was. That's what the color wheel's for now. I didn't have a background before, so I figured why not use something before. Well, it was just gray, and then it was Rivendell for a little bit, for just a week or so. Yeah. Then again, here's all the characters. Hawk missing, Valanth off with now Mecca and Argyle, who had stormed off from the group, Argyle who followed her as always, and then Valanth who was sent off to keep tabs on him by Zario, the leader. And then of course Billy and Usion still hanging out with him there. And they're all on Sotama with Aezic and with Vala now, who's run into Aezic, caught up with him, as we know from being, having that not necessarily third person. Well, it is the third person perspective, but not the third person omniscient perspective. You're not quite getting everything. You're just getting what the storyteller, me, the omniscient, the third person omniscient himself, decides to tell the rest of you third persons. So, yeah. Right. Is that correct literary lingo, all you literature people? And then again, yeah, Ravim there, the commander of both Maloon and Vala. Maloon and he out on that trip, I said, but then they came back. I guess I'm just going to give you a little spoiler there. That's the private of and he was of the Tantorian Federation. If you couldn't pick up implicitly that from the little part about him, but that was the private that was talking. There was like a big wuss. That's him, Private Kwas. You'll meet him a little further later on. So that's where we're at. So yeah, they get to Sotama, the Bright City. Aezic moving around a bit, trying to get in touch with the colonel that's there. He does, as the colonel's trying to find more information, unsuccessful. Well, Aezic's unsuccessful in finding out anything more from him because he never gets to meet him again. That's when he runs into Vala. And again, Zario and the others still there, and kind of split up now. And then Aezic and Vala going to another space, and Aezic finds out. He also found out about the ascendancy now on Ob because of them, which he was kicking himself over, and then finds out just a bit after that there is a high priority bounty placed on him by his own Free World Alliance. So that is where we leave things at the end of episode 5. Sorry for the extremely long introduction. My bad. Yeah, that's about it. I guess there's not a whole lot left. Episode 6 will be on Saturday morning, and we'll see what Aezic's reaction is to the bounty. Not just that, but standing next to another Free World Alliance officer, as they both realize that he has a bounty placed on him. So that's Aezic again in the corner here, still hanging out with us. We still got Vala and Zario here. I didn't mean to put some of the other people up here, but you saw them all. Doesn't matter. I actually have, I don't know if you were able to see that. I closed it, I believe. Nope, it's still here. There it is. You can see it on the side. Yes, there is indeed. Oh, no, you can't because Aezic's there now. And the rest. There is indeed 32 characters currently generated, an image generated for, which is many more than you've met, actually. Well, definitely more than you met. More than are in the 10 episodes that are currently posted. So I'm actually getting toward the end of. I guess, like I said before, these are okay. So every episode's about 10 pages. Just if you're wondering, it's actually now it's basically 10 pages every time. I'm trying to stick like right to it. So I get to page 10 at least, and sometimes that page 10 is completely full, so it is 10 pages. But which are actually more than 10 pages in like if it was made into an actual book, it'd probably maybe even be more like 12 or 13 or something, perhaps, maybe even more than that, based on word count, what I'm looking at. I'm already over 200 pages, even though I'm at like 170 or so, probably 175 maybe. But I'm already like well over what would be uh, maybe like 250 pages in an actual printed book. So we're getting on there, but it only takes about what 25 minutes to actually get through a whole episode uh, of 10 pages written on a Google Docs. That's what I'm doing it on, of course. And yeah, so every episode 10 pages, and there's kind of like it's going to be like a 300 page through 30 episode story, and there's about like a 4 to 6 episode arc every time. It's kind of a loose story arc for those 4 to 6 episodes, so that's why I give it that little 4 to 6 range. um, but I'm like it now going to be like toward the end of episode 20 ish. uh, that'll be the end of like arc 4, and then I'm going to get some heavy editing by my professional editor, and then my free professional free editor, freely paid donative basis, and then yeah, and then we'll get going with the next 10. But then we're not going to stop with just there. I'm gonna let her do. I'm gonna let her read the next 10 so I can like start getting them out. But I'm gonna obviously continue to write, finish this thing up, all 30 episodes. And there's plenty more story that is going to be needed to be told after that still. I already have plans made for several other books, and then like what I guess you would probably could call them just like short stories or short series of different things like the adventures of Aezic and the group of mercenaries back before they met. I'm sorry, Zario and the group of mercenaries back before they met Aezic, and things like that. You know, different short stories. But really, I wanted to get through this so I could do some Wildlands short stories and start forming the world of Wildlands, which we have several different games based on. And if you want to check out some of the artwork and different stuff for those, check out the other Temple Foundry streams that we did in the past. I guess that's it for now, guys. Again, I'll be back Saturday morning for the next episode, episode 6, Wanted, and we're quickly approaching the end, episode 10. Maybe some of you have already done all 10 episodes. Maybe none of you have watched any of them. That's fine. Eventually, I'm hoping some people start getting interested in this. That'd be great. But hey, we'll see. Uh, Once I get through the 10 episodes, I'll start posting the rest. So it's only going to be a few weeks until the new episodes 11 through the rest are posted. I'll be back tomorrow. Man, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I might just have to do a Yu-Gi-Oh stream instead of a Lorcana stream because we have tons of Yu-Gi-Oh to do. Not any Lorcana right now other than a few loose Ursula's Return packs, and I don't know if I want to open those or not. And then we'll have our Big Friday Pokemon stream. In fact, a little spoiler for that, I guess. I'm thinking about doing like a 3 series hodgepodge of stuff because I don't really have any like one big product I want to do tomorrow. I might end up doing the lightning stacking tin that's up there, the old Jolteon GX tin, and we just got something from Scarlet and Violet, another Scarlet and Violet purchase we made from Pokemon Center. So we'll open that up on Friday, the box, and then open we'll open something up from our purchase along with those other 2 items. So it'll end up being, let's see, it'll probably it'll probably be like 8, 9, 10 packs, something like that. So it'll be decent, and they'll be awesome because I'm pretty sure there's some Sun and Moon in the Jolteon GX tin. So we'll have Sun and Moon, we'll have Sword and Shield from the stacking tin, and we'll have Scarlet Violet from the new thing that I'll be popping out of the box on Friday evening. So check the Discord, join the Discord. Got a few guys in there now. Thank you, Discord fellows, also subs. Thanks to everyone who subbed recently or subbed at all, ever. Subbed today. Thank you. Like the video. Comment. Let me know what you think. But again, yeah, join the Discord. We're trying to grow that now, I guess. That's cool. And all the updates, all the planned streams are already posted there in the events, so you can actually see everything that we have planned already without having to listen to me tell you. All right, that's it, guys. I will catch you then basically every day of the week coming up. So, yeah, Randy, Nurse Templar, and Usion signing out. Peace.